everybody has been waiting for us to get to our most important segment of the night, which is, of course, the One Piece segment of the show. We had this post out of Collectors Club X that said, Card show owner bans One Piece from being sold. Rob, why would you not want to get free money?
Some people just don't like anime boobs, I guess. I don't know.
Can you
Don't
unpack the story for us? You did a video on your TCG channel. What's going on with this guy and One Piece and his shows, and how did the One Piece crowd feel about this one?
I mean, first off, it's the guy's show. He can set whatever rules that he wants for it. That's his right to do that. Essentially, he wanted to run his words, a family friendly show. And he specifically called out that he thinks that One Piece is popular because a lot of the girls have large breasts, and he didn't want that kind of stuff at a show, which is perfectly fine. My take is where do you draw the line? Because there's a lot of, I'll give a good example of WWE cards. There's a lot of scantily clad actual real women, not animated, that have very revealing clothing on. Are you going to allow those? Like there's a lot of different angles of, where do you draw the line on this that gets a little confusing. Are you allowed to sell male One Piece cards, just not female one? You can really get into the weeds on this one if you want to.
What was the sentiment within the comment section of the video that you did and talked about this? Like, were people like upset about it, or were they like understanding of his choice?
No one was really upset. I think it came back to one of two things of like, hey, it's his show. If he wants to do that, that's fine. I don't like, a lot of people were like, I don't agree with it. But I think the main talking point is where do you draw that line? Like, if you're going to do this, then some people were like, so if it's the summertime and a girl walks into your show in a revealing top, is she not allowed in? You could start going down the rabbit holes.
Did Ryan or many
I
of you
mean,
guys have any thoughts on One Piece these days? I guess it doesn't have to be about this specific story, but we can make this the official One Piece segment if you have other One Piece thoughts.
I mean, I saw a lot of comments. People were telling him he needs to go watch the anime and all this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, a lot of people like to tell other people what they're allowed to do. And I mean, like I said, like it's his show. He can do whatever he wants. It's like it's one card show. It's not the end of the world if somebody doesn't want certain cards sold at it. But yeah, like Neo said, like it becomes a very a weird area to be. It's just, I almost feel like he's kind of like, because he's done it now, you kind of feel like he feels like he has to dig in, even if he doesn't really want to. And I don't know if that's the case. I don't know him, anything, but it's just, now it just kind of feels like he's not going to go against it because he's said it. And now he feels like he has to stick to that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like Neo said, like there's a lot of real people cards. Yeah.
So this is okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like real people cards that would, I mean, you'd think like that would be like worse than animated.
I can see where he's coming from, right? I think he said that he had like a lot of kids at his show or whatever, right? He's got his reason. He's got his right to do whatever. Like, I can respect his opinion. Man, it's just, I don't know what's going on with One Piece. I don't even want to speak on it. I'm excited for the people that are excited about it. I have no connection with it. I only learned about it last, 2 weeks ago from you guys. I've heard the One Piece, thing being said and talked about, but I didn't know that it had this 12,000 episode history. I didn't know it goes back into the 90s. I didn't know it was, anime, boobs, right? Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. And I don't care. So that's my
It's not
opinion
just
on it.
anime boobs, guys. There's other stuff that people are into, right? Like
the
like
pirates
that one
fighting against the evil world government.
Yeah,
that is the show.
Like,
it's about friendship. It's the friends they made along the way.
Where would Magic the Gathering be at right now if they leaned a little bit more into this and didn't get so soft in their, they used to have a lot racier artwork back in the day, and they made a big pivot like 5-10 years ago to kind of lean away from that. And I feel like there's a weird what if there.
Yeah, I do think that there's an interesting thing where, when you become a IP and you get bigger and bigger and bigger, your growth in theory is to like sell to the wider general audiences. And as you expand out to those general audiences, then you have to be more PG for those audiences because now you're involving like families and kids and things of that nature. But sometimes that can hurt a lot of those IPs because they're not like doubling down on what the brunt of their audience actually wants. To answer your question, yeah, I think that there's probably a world where, if Magic really pushed some of the more risky art, like not even in just like their, the scantily clad women or guys or whatever like that, but even just like, they've kind of shied away from doing a lot of like demonic art type of stuff, where
Yeah.
they would like used to have a lot of
Or
like,
violence or like blood.
yeah,
They used
violence
to
or
be
gory stuff.
way, you know,
Yeah,
way
you look at like
crazier.
some of those like some of those alpha cards and beta cards, like there was definitely like a lot of like more risky like
Just literally a
pentagrams and things like
pentagram
that.
on unholy
Yeah,
string.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, it is interesting because I have to say, like, remember, like we were at New York Comic Con, and like sometimes you walk around like New York or San Diego, and you just see like these booths where there's just like Udon set up
Yeah.
selling like variant covers of like hot
Fully naked.
animated girls everywhere. And there's just like these massive signs, and you're just like, dude, this is wild. But at the same time, how can you complain with the lines that they're getting? So
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
was
it-
gonna ask,
yeah.
has this
That's
ever
the thing. Like
happened?
that's crazy. Like at New York Comic Con, there's like nude variants like everywhere,
Yeah.
all over the
I-
place. Like it's so much more extreme than anything like this.
I mean,
That's what I
I
was
think
gonna
this
ask. Has this
just
ever
speaks.
come up at Comic Cons before? Where like Comic Cons are like, no, you're not allowed to sell this certain stuff, or you have to hide it, or whatever.
that's a good question. I haven't heard that, but I have to say that my last New York trip, my takeaway was I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
there's
we
a
were
lot
literally
of it
walking
all of a
around
sudden.
together, being
Yeah.
like, "What? Like that's just like out for
Yeah.
anyone to see." And it's just like a
Yeah.
fully, full blown, not even like a girl in a swimsuit.
But
So is
it
that
hasn't really been a conversation,
so is that like why this guy's statement caught on because it's so unusual because sex in collectibles is so widely and for a long time accepted and more blatant year after year that everyone's kind of numb to it. And it's like, well, duh, we know this happens. We know there's nudie books. We know there's this. We know there's that. And so this one guy stepping out saying no, that's what's odd about it. What's odd is not the boobs. What's odd is someone saying, I don't want that in my show. And it's like, where you been? And these are what shows are now. That's why I caught on, right?
Well, that is an interesting thing because I mean, there is a rich history of like kind of pornographic material within the comic book art world that like exists since like the 40s and 50s. So there, maybe it is a little bit more just like in the culture that it does kind of exist. And guys, we
I mean,
we
yeah,
grew
like
up on
look at
Jim
stuff
Lee
that like
drawing
Wally
Psylocke.
Wood.
Yeah,
You know,
come on.
Like,
Gen 13. You guys remember why were we buying
Yeah.
Gen 13? I mean, come on.
but I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's like a lot of the like there's a lot of stuff by who were relatively mainstream artists. Like I said, like Wally Wood. Like there's a lot of like nude art back in that period, and and things like whether it was in Mad magazine and some of the interior stuff, or it was maybe they did pieces for like Playboy magazine or whatever else. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
like mainstream artists that's how they paid their bills at some point.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Rob, this is an interesting, conversation because herein is sort of the intersection of TCG cards and now sports cards. And there is a little bit of like this is different now. Like these two things have a little bit of friction. And I've been kind of seeing, a lot of people with the reels where it's like me showing up to a sports card show and it's like 95% Pokemon now.
Yeah. I wonder if this is also one of those things where like the comic book side is actually ahead of the card side. Of like the comic book world is way more used to this kind of stuff. So they're just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. It's like a girl in a animated bathing suit. Whereas,
Yeah.
people bringing their 5-year-old to go look at a Jose Canseco card is like, whoa, what is that doing in there?
Yeah, exactly. J. Scott
could be.
Campbell, man. Come on. Like, hello.
Yeah. The guy built an empire.
Yeah. Ain't nobody mad at it.
Nami banned,
Well-
but J. Scott Campbell, welcome.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, luckily, not all TCGs are pornographic or risky in their materials. We do also have some, like Pokemon, that are family friendly. And speaking of Pokemon, guys, this is going to be our last show until we get the sale of the Logan Paul Pikachu Illustrator card that is on Golden Auctions. They are having a mega live stream for this where you can buy in, or I guess they already did do their buy-in sales to speaking of breaking, people that are going to open up an original box of the Pokemon set. They raised $1.4 million for this buy-in, which is a crazy amount per pack if you guys
It's
do the
insane.
math.
It's insane.
But again, we already had the conversation about breaking, why people do it. They're paying more than they have to, but I guess they want to be a part of the show, part of the moment. And speaking of that moment, we're currently sitting at $6.324 million. So it is going to break the record. Do you guys have any final predictions of what this card is going to sell for come next week?
What's it at right now? 6.3, you said? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I had said, I think 7 back when we first talked about it. I mean, it'll probably do more than that, but it's still under that at least. So I'll stick with, for some reason I had thought it had gotten above that, but I guess not. Maybe there was something else I had heard, just like talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I'll stick with 7. I still think the crazier thing is that break, that first edition break, like 1.4 million.
This is pretty wild
for 36 packs.
Do you want to expand on that? Because I think it's like the pack rate is like what? It's like 40 grand a pack, which is like higher than what you could actually buy it for.
It's even more than what his last one was. I think his last one was like 25,000 a pack or something that he did like during the absolute peak banana insane, boom period. And so the fact that this one is even higher than that because I don't think they were selling for this much in that break. I don't know if it even broke 1 million. That's where the meme of the like $30,000 Bulbasaur or whatever it was like came out, because like the guy that they had as their like expert was like, oh, that card's $30,000, and it's not anywhere near that. And so everybody made fun of that for like 2 years. When he talks about like a sealed pack that he opens, like a heavy pack, he's like, this is like a $12,000 pack, and that's a pack that is guaranteed to have a holo. And these people are paying like 4x that, when you may not even have, like you have what is it? It's a 1 in 3 chance. I think there's usually 12 holos. I think it's like 12 holos in a box. And so like you have like a 1 in 3 chance, and you're effectively paying many, many times more than even what that pack is worth. And so, yeah, I get it. It's like, it's to have your name read out loud and all that stuff, but it's wild what people are paying for that.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Ungraded Truth podcast. To be able to watch the full show, click the link down below. Yep, that one right there.